Bill O'Reilly. Thanks for watching us tonight. The slacker factor. That is the subject of this evening's Talking Points memo. Apparently, Mitt Romney has begun to take the offensive about comments that were offensive to liberal America. Earlier this week, Mr. Romney was seen on tape saying that many Americans would not vote for him because they want free stuff rather than earn their way. As Talking Points pointed out on Tuesday, that's largely true. So let's break it down. When I was teaching high school in Miami, Florida, there were three kinds of students in my class. The first student worked hard and succeeded fairly well. The second student worked hard but found getting good grades difficult for a variety of reasons. They didn't fail, but they weren't scoring big. And the third type of student didn't work at all, and many of them made excuses for their failure to do so. Here's the point. Some of those failing students were outraged that I held them accountable for their laziness. They couldn't believe that I was giving them bad grades. They felt entitled to pass, no matter what they did. Now, that was 40 years ago. Today, the situation is far worse on the entitlement front. We become a culture that generally excuses bad behavior. We make an excuse for it, unless it's felony-type stuff. While my parents held me accountable for my actions, many parents today let their kids do what they want. So if they don't want to study, they don't have to. That kind of attitude is now flooding the marketplace. And that's what Mitt Romney was talking about, a fairly significant percentage of Americans who believe society owes them stuff, even if they don't even try to succeed. It's impossible to put a percentage on people who think that way, and therein lies Mitt Romney's mistake. 47% of Americans are not slackers, and the governor knows that. So in trying to make his point to a friendly audience, he didn't word the criticism properly. But there is no question that President Obama and the Democratic Party are not very interested in holding people accountable. They are far more interested in giving them stuff in return for votes. And that strategy may succeed. Dennis Miller put it very well last night.
I think a lot of people are worried that we're starting to skew over into a place where more people are not going for it than going for it. That is dangerous.
And it's dangerous because the successful people cannot carry everybody else. As Margaret Thatcher once said about socialism, there comes a point when you run out of other people's money. And we have. The sad truth is that today millions of Americans are not willing to do what it takes to support themselves. They want the government to provide. They feel it is owed to them. Yes, times are tough. Yes, it's not easy to get a good job. But even in the face of a severe recession, most of us are working hard. Many of us are succeeding, but far too many are not trying hard enough. And that's a memo. Now for the top story tonight. After President Obama was caught on tape saying he supports income redistribution, what we're talking about, that's taking money from the successful and giving it to the less successful, an NBC News correspondent said this.
We have not authenticated this 14-year-old tape from Loyola College when Barack Obama was a state senator. So because we have not independently at NBC News and MSNBC authenticated it, we're not airing it.
Well, that situation will reverse a short time later, and NBC did run the tape. Joining us now from Boston, Democratic strategist Marianne Marsh, and from Los Angeles, Fox News analyst Leslie Marshall. Leslie, we'll begin with you. We had Thomas Friedman from the New York Times on this program yesterday, and I asked him this question. It's a very simple question because, as you know, Leslie, I am a simple man.
Yes.
Mr. Friedman, what country can you point to that practices income redistribution on a large scale that is powerful and successful in the world today? He didn't have one.
Are you going to ask, is that my question?
Yeah, because you're smarter than Friedman. So I'm asking you the same question. Mr. Friedman didn't have one. Do you?
I do, actually. I have two countries, but right. I would say that, and I know that you're going to argue with me about this. I would say the United Kingdom and France, and actually Germany would be a better example because
Germany, number one.
Much better place.
Let me talk. Germany doesn't practice income redistribution. Neither does Switzerland, and those are the two most powerful economies in Europe. Britain is almost bankrupt, and so is France. France is now instituting a 75% tax on their wealthy citizens. So I don't think they're strong economically. In fact, I know they're not. So you basically can't point to one, Leslie. Can you, Marianne, can you give me a country that practices income redistribution on a large level that's economically powerful?
Yeah, the United States of America. It's called taxes. And we've had them since the Constitution.
We're economically powerful now? With a $16 trillion debt, 8% unemployment, and a deficit runs more than $1 trillion a year? We're economically powerful?
Despite our troubles, we're still the most powerful nation in the world and the envy of all. And it's that system that made us that way.
So wait a minute.
And it works when people pay their fair share, Bill. And that's the problem right now.
You think that at this moment in history, in American history, that we are a powerful economic engine with all of the debt we have, with the huge deficit we have, with the unemployment rate as stubborn as it is, you think that we are prospering as a nation economically?
We're not as well off as we have been, even as recently as 10 years ago, but we are still the wealthiest nation in the world,
all right.
Period.
We may be the wealthiest nation in the world, but it's not because of income redistribution. Now, Leslie, when Bill Clinton